So I call this meeting to order at 4:43 p.m. Now moving on to our territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Kwantlen, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations who are currently situated on occupied territories. I'm going to move on to the roll call of attendance. Although I understand there's some new counselors here today. Starting off with the Archaeology Student Association. Just going to double check my list. Archaeology did submit regrets, same with behavioral neuroscience. Biology.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick. My pronouns are he, him, his. And I will have to leave at around 7, but other than that, all my access needs have been met.
And then, just for the new counselors who are joining us today, in the roll call of attendance, you just briefly mention your name, pronouns, and then whether or not your access needs are met, which are the things that are required to for you to be able to connect to the meeting, like if you can only talk through chat or have to leave early or something like that. That being said, moving on to biomedical physiology.
Hi everyone, my name is Jovan, he, him, all of my access needs are met.
And then on to Business Administration Student Society.
Hi everyone, my name is Meha Sidhu. I use she, her pronouns, and all my access needs have been met for today.
Sounds good. On to the Chemistry Student Society. Chemistry Student Society is not here. Moving on to the Cognitive Student Society, sent regrets. Onto the CSSS.
Hello, my name is Abel, pronoun she, her, all my access needs are met.
Onto the Criminology Student Association.
Hi everybody, my name is Henry, pronouns he, him. All my access needs are just fine.
Sounds good. Moving on to data science. Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer, she, her, all my access needs are met. On to earth science. Earth science, Eden, are you here today? Hear nothing from Eden. I'm moving on to the Education Student Association.
Hi, my name is Shivali. My pronouns are she, her, and all of my access needs are met for today. Thank you.
Nice. Moving on to Tony. Hi everyone, my name is Tony. My pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met. Moving on to the English Student Association.
Hello, my name is Timothy Zara. My pronouns are she, her, and all of my access needs are met.
Moving on to the Environmental Science Student Union.
Hi everyone, I'm Grayson Bark, he, him pronouns, and all my access needs are met. Thank you.
Nice. Moving on to the geography student union. JSU counselor here. He, him, all access needs met. I'll be leaving in 2 to 3 hours due to personal matters. We're now moving on to the health science undergraduate student union. Hi everyone, my name is Ishika and my pronouns are she, her. My mic will be off as I'm driving back home. We're now moving on to Indigenous Studies Student Union. Evan, he, him, all access needs met. Now moving on to International Studies Student Association. International Studies Student Association, Chloe, are you here? International Studies is not here. Apologize for the delay. I'm just joining with the second device so I can share my screen. On to Labor Studies Student Union. Hi everyone, my name is Mumdu, he, him, and all my access needs are met. I'll most likely have to leave the call at around 6-ish as I need to go break my fast. Now on to Mechatronic Systems Engineering Student Society. Hi, it's Aiden. Everything's met. On to myself. My name's Sam. My pronouns are he, him. All my access needs are met. As President Fang has sent regrets, I am chairing the meeting today. Now we are moving on to leave the political science counselor, as philosophy has sent regrets. Yes, it is PSSU.
Hi everyone, my name is Aaliyah. Everything's met.
Nice. We are now moving on to SUS, Science Undergraduate Society.
Hi guys, it's Catherine, she, her pronouns, and all access needs are met. Thank you.
Moving on to Society for the Arts and Social Sciences Council. Hi there, my name is Rajdev Gill. My pronouns are he, him, and my access needs are met. Just letting you all know, I will have to leave at around 5:45-ish to catch dinner with my family. I have been informed that I've missed the Resource and Environmental Management Counselor. Amos, take us away. I'm Amos, pronouns he, him, access needs are met. Thanks, Amos. On to our next student association. which is Society for Sociology and Anthropology Student Union. Sasu, are you here today? I'm not hearing anything from Sasu. Moving on to Stats and Actuarial Science Student Association.
Wait, who are you calling? Me?
Yes.
Oh, hi everyone, I'm Ben. Pronoun she, her, access needs submit.
Sounds good. Moving on to Sustainable Energy Engineering Student Association.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrew. My pronouns are he, him, and I might be a little early because I don't feel well today.
Sounds good. Moving on to, I believe, World Languages and Literature Student Association. I'm not hearing anything from World Languages and Literature Student Association. Moving on to DNA. I'm not hearing anything from DNA. And Chris has sent his regrets. Moving on to SoCal.
Hi everyone, my name is Yai. Access needs are met and pronouns are she, her.
Thanks, Guy. Women's Center Collective has sent regrets. Moving on to Residence Hall Association.
Hey everyone, EM is access needs are met. Thank you.
Moving on to the TSSU counselor. TSSU counselor, Pranjali, are you here? I am not hearing anything from the TSSU, and SF has sent regrets. So has Liam. The VP internal also sent regrets, but is here, I believe. VP internal.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, hi, Ashley Flett, they, she pronouns, and all my access needs are met for the day.
VP Finance and Services has sent regrets. Onto VP University and Academic Affairs.
Hi, Thomas. Access needs met. Pronouns he, him, his.
Thanks, Thomas. On to VP External and Community Affairs.
Hi everyone, my name is Nancy, pronouns are she, her, and my access needs are met except for I'm just talking out of the education counselor's computer because mine's charging.
Sounds good. Moving on to VP Equity and Sustainability.
Hi everyone, my name is Veronica. My pronouns are she, her, hers. access needs, I will be stepping out of the meeting actually very shortly, because I have a meeting with my professor, but then I'll be like right back afterwards.
Sounds good. How long is that meeting, Priyanka? Just as
It's 30 minutes. I'll still be in this meeting. I'm gonna join from another device. I just probably won't be like vocal. If I message, I'll be in chat.
sounds good. Thanks. On to VP Events and Student Affairs.
Hi guys, name's I pronounce he, him, his. As for access needs, I just need to log into my PC.
Sounds good. Now moving on to Temporary Operations Organizer.
Hi, all. Sindhu here. Pronouns she, her, hers, and access needs are met.
Now on to Administrative Assistant. Hi everyone, my name is Hope. Pronouns she, her, hers. All access needs met. Now moving on to regrets. Please may Hope, please may post your regrets in chat that need to be amended on, and please may you include the VP internal in the regrets, as well as the president Liam Feng. The VP internal has to step out pretty soon, and send regrets is just here for the beginning. So that's why we're adding regrets. Thank you so much, Hope. I be resolved to ratify the regrets from the History Student Union Counselor Emilio de Silva and VP Finance and Services Jed Vender Belina, Behavioral Neuroscience Student Association Counselor Arthi, Cognitive Science Student Association Counselor, Software Systems Student Society, Women's Center Collective Counselor, First Nations, Métis and Inuit Student Association Counselor, Philosophy Student Union Counselor, SFPERG Counselor, Archaeology Student Association Counselor, the President and the Acting VP Internal for the March 27th Council meeting. We need to add these to the agenda. I move to amend the agenda to add the aforementioned regrets to the agenda. Can I get a seconder? Mamdu seconds. Mamdu and LSSU seconds. I'm seeking unanimous consent for this motion. If you dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent, this motion is carried. I'm now going to move to ratify the regrets from these counselors. I move. Can I get a seconder?
CSA.
CSA seconds. I'm going to seek unanimous consent for this motion. If you dissent, please speak up now. Wait. I apologize. I got ahead of myself. I'm supposed to move the whole consent agenda at once. So that motion is not needed, although it did pass with no dissent. Onto the consent agenda. Be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. Matters arising from the minutes. Be resolved to file and receive the following council and committee minutes. For the new councilors here today, we don't normally read out the minutes. They're attached in the files that you were sent in your email before, so that you can read over them before it. And then we also have ratifications of regrets in the consent agenda. it's all things that are read before and then can be passed by everyone. So I move, can I get a seconder for the, oh, I also do not need a move or a seconder for the consent agenda, I do not believe. So be resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. If you dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent, the motion is carried. We're now moving on to the adoption of the agenda, which needs a mover and a seconder and is frequently amended at council. So I move, can I get a seconder?
Equity.
Internal.
Equity seconds. Be resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. I'm going to open the floor to lists. At this point, lists for new councilors is how you speak in meetings. If you have something you want to say, you type list in the chat, and then the chair, myself, will acknowledge you. If you want to respond directly to someone else's comment, you put a double asterisk in the chat, which is a direct response. The direct response means respond directly, you have priority in the meeting. And we do not allow, you can't directly respond to a direct response. There's also, if something's going wrong, it's a point of order. You'll very rarely see those, but they do happen, just in case you see someone put that in chat. Now I will move on to Ashley's list.
Hi, thank you so much, Sam, especially for that excellent explanation of Robert's rules. I'd like to move to amend the following motion onto council. I emailed everybody about it ahead of time, but essentially it's just moving to make some changes to the SPOC policy, which is our Space Oversight Committee. Pretty standard stuff that was recommended a while ago. Yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me about it when we come to the new business item.
Thank you, Ashley. You move, I second. Seek unanimous consent to amend this onto the agenda. If you dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent, this motion is carried. Thomas, you have a list next. Sounds good. While we wait for the okay, already in chat. Nice. Okay. Purchasing SFSS merchandise. Whereas the SFSS distributes merchandise to its members annually to increase engagement and brand awareness, whereas no merchandise is purchased for distribution this term, we resolve to approve $21,000 from line item 886/17 promotions material from the communications department to purchase SFSS merchandise. It's a new business item. Thomas, I assume you move. Is that the case?
Yes, but I'm posting my second amendment in the chat real quick. Just one, I posted new business, but I didn't post the actual thing itself. Just one second.
Oh, okay, sounds good. While we wait, I will also just briefly mention another rarely used but sometimes seen chat for Robert's Rules based meetings are point of information, POI, opposed to point of order, POO, used to clarify information in extreme circumstances. We also the agenda items published. University and Academic Affairs Committee election, whereas the University and Academic Affairs Committee has one vacant counselor seat. There's a little bit more, yeah, motion. Be resolved to appoint Councillor X to sit on the University and Academic Affairs Committee for the rest of the current council term and council term 24/25. I'm just gonna have to seek clarification on that one with the addition of the 25 part. I've not seen that happen before, but this is also my first year.
Yes, so the reason for this is because we only have like another 2 meetings for the current council year. So this person would not have to rejoin the committee in May.
Thanks so much. Well, that makes a lot of logical sense. Council committees, this current council ends on April 30th, and we're not able to appoint onto the next council because that is the responsibility of the next council. So within the meeting order, that wouldn't be it's not within the powers of this council to do. Please may you add it again without the section, because otherwise, as Ashley's mentioned, it's out of order and we can't do it anyways. Thomas, your
Okay,
list.
I'll amend it to just be for the rest of the council time. Like, I'll just strike the last line.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
Should I repost it in chat?
Yes, please. Just this one, I'm going back to it later.
All right.
Hi everyone, I realize I've been muted. Can someone in the chat say how long I've been muted for?
Ever since Thomas posted his amendment onto council, you've been muted the whole time.
No wonder I didn't hear any dissent. So I will reread out that motion. Thank you, Aaliyah and Henry. Yes, it is quite funny. We are Gen Z and still get caught by muting. Purchasing SFSS merchandise. Whereas the SFSS distributes merchandise to its members annually to increase engagement and brand awareness, whereas no merchandise was purchased for distribution this term, be resolved to approve $21,000 from line item 886/17 promotions material from the communications department to purchase SFSS merchandise. Onto our second new business item to be amended onto the agenda, University and Academic Affairs Committee election. Whereas the University and Academic Affairs Committee has one vacant council seat, be resolved to appoint Councillor X to sit on the University and Academic Affairs Committee for the rest of the current council term and council term 24. No, and for the remainder of the current council term. Nothing more on this one. Thomas moves. I second. I'm seeking unanimous consent for this amendment. If you dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent for this amendment, it is carried. If you have any further lists for the council agenda, please speak up now. Hearing no further lists, I'm moving on to the motion itself. I'm seeking unanimous consent to adopt the agenda as amended. If you dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent, this motion is carried. Moving on to 10.1, member services policy and group updates. Can I get a mover?
CSA moves.
Internal seconds.
CSA moves and internal seconds. Whereas in February and March 2024, the Governance and Member Services Committees reviewed and suggested changes to the Society's Member Services and Groups policy as outlined in the attachment. Be it resolved, the SFSS adopt the changes to the Member Services and Group policies outlined in the attachment. SFSS Member Services and Group Policies 2024 on the 13th of March. I'm now going to open the floor to any lists. And I'm now going to open the floor to any lists on this item. I'm hearing no lists at all. Briefly, Ashley or Henry, can you speak on the member services? Well, Ashley or Io, can you speak on the member services policy changes? List from the VP internal.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to it. There's nothing too substantial. Mostly it was just removing redundancies, clearing up some language, drawing some firm lines in terms of some financial stuff. But mostly this was all recommended by our staff who are, daily making these decisions that have kept our society, running smoothly. All of the changes were outlined in documents sent about a week ago. So counselors definitely had some time to review any of the specific details. But if you have any questions, I do recommend you refer back to those documents.
Sounds good. If there's no further comments on this motion, I'll move directly to voting. I am not hearing any more questions or any comments on this motion. So I'm going to cautiously seek unanimous consent for this motion. If you dissent, please speak up now. I'm hearing no dissent. So this motion is carried. Moving on to item 10.2, Graduate Student Society and DNA Memorandum of Understanding. Can I get a mover for this motion?
Geography.
Geography moves. Can I get a seconder?
SSU.
Seconded.
SSU, I heard first. Whereas an agreement between the Graduate Student Society and Disability and Neurodiversity Alliance has been in the works to provide graduate students access to the center, whereas GSS is providing funding to DNA in exchange for its service to graduate students. We resolved Council approve the signing of a new Memorandum of Understanding between DNA and GSS. The Memorandum of Understanding was sent out last week. I'm going to open the floor to any lists. I believe Priyanka is also only able to respond by chat right now. List from the geography counselor. What are the specifics of the MOU? List from Sindhu.
Yeah, so I believe the MOU was sent out to all counselors earlier. The main purpose of this is for GSS to provide some funding to SFU DNA in exchange for having some of its members access the space or some of the services. Keeping in mind that DNA is a constituency group, so works with their levy funding. Yeah, so the MOU outlines just the terms of the funding, staff relationship, the institutional relationship, and what to do if there's a disagreement.
List from Cindy again.
Yeah, sorry. Also, noting that the term is intended to be for a period of 1 year. As of right now, and then after a year, they will be revisiting the revisions to make any revisions to the agreement.
Sounds. Thank you, Cindy. Are there any further lists on this item? List from the Geography Counselor. Jeffrey shared his list in chat. I believe as long as the Graduate Student Society pays its fair share, it seems okay. We probably shouldn't be funding the GSSS activities when they're a different org. Nice. Do we have any more lists or further discussion on this item? I'm hearing none, so I'm gonna move on to voting. I'm seeking unanimous consent for this motion. If you dissent, please speak up now. I am not hearing any dissent. So the motion is carried. We're now moving on to our next item, which I believe is Thomas's first motion. Purchasing SFSS merchandise, whereas the SFSS distributes merchandise to its members annually to increase engagement and brand awareness, whereas no merchandise is purchased for distribution this term, be it resolved to approve $21,000 from line item 886/17 promotions material from the communications department to purchase SFSS merchandise. Can I get a mover?
CSA moves.
CSA moves. Can I get a seconder? University seconds. List. I'm opening up the floor to lists, and the first list is the ISSU counselor.
Hey, so I'm at the Harbor Center campus right now, so sorry if there's noise. I was just wondering about I'm not trying to be a downer here. I think that merch is important, but I just had two concerns. The first concern is I'm not sure how wise of a financial decision it is for us to spend $21,000 on merch when our logo is in the midst of being changed. I don't know how far that merch would go. The other thing I was worried about was I know that we've been giving students a hard time with grant applications for events and stuff because of the budget this year. And I'm just wondering if it is appropriate to spend $21,000 in merch when we've been grilling students. I think the Diwali event, we gave them a lot of trouble over giving them 7,000 and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to be a downer on it. I'm wondering if maybe prioritizing the budget more, maybe this is something that could be moved out of that line item into the deficit, into a place where we need it more. Yeah, that's just my thoughts. That and the logo.
Thanks, Evan. Moving on to Sindhu.
Yeah, no, Evan, you bring up a lot of good points. I was just gonna speak to the motion itself. It was something that was requested by the department because it's something that we do every year and it is budgeted for. It was the budget for it this year was $25,000. But yeah, you bring up good points. If a logo change, I know we were talking about it, but we haven't implemented that necessarily yet. But if that is something that we anticipate coming over the next few years, then yeah, maybe it's not a worthwhile purchase. Or if we don't think we need merch this year, and we'd rather use that funding for something else or reallocate that is an option too. Yeah, this was just an annual recurring purchase, so thought we'd bring it to council, but if everyone's would rather not proceed with the purchasing of this, that's totally okay too.
List from Priyanka.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be very brief, but to my knowledge, we are at least from conversations I've had, we don't want to go forward with the logo change at this time. I'm not sure if future councils will want to, just because a logo change is comes with a very hefty price tag. So currently the logo competition that Liam brought forward, that wouldn't have any impacts on the society's logo. It's more just an engagement activity for students and to increase involvement. In terms of the merch, I do think you bring up a good point in terms of allocating funding maybe towards more student events. If we don't go through with the entire $21,000 purchase, I would still like to see potentially a smaller amount allocated towards merch, just because for club stays, I'm not sure who's been at the SFSS table. This year we didn't really have merch, which was a little bit of a downer, and we would be scrambling last minute for things to give out to students, to engage students that were coming around. So I do think it's nice to have, but maybe we can look at the amount of units we're ordering.
Thank you, Evan. I have a list myself. I'm just I haven't seen too much of our merch. What kind of items would this be going towards buying? Director Swanson Sindhu?
Yeah, I can send out the quote confidentially just to council as well, but I believe the comms team took in the feedback from counselors in a survey that was done a while back. And so it's things like water bottle, totes, power banks. Let's see, I think like there's blankets in there, pens, notebooks, like webcam privacy covers. Yeah, just very generic things like that.
Sounds good. Are there any further lists on this item? Any more comments, questions? List from Sindhu?
Yeah, and like, just hearing some feedback, another option, like as Priyanka mentioned, is that we can still order merch, but even perhaps for this, we can reduce the quantity to exactly half so that we're still getting merchandise and using what was allocated for the budget, but not using all of it. So that's an option too.
I have another question just to ask for Sindhu. Do you know how much we spent on merchandise last year? Direct response from Sindhu?
Yeah, I don't recall. I think what we had budgeted last year was I want to say 10,000-ish. The previous year it was similar 25,000. Just gonna double check because actually yeah, so last year it was also 25,000. But it was split between two departments, so we moved it to just one, so it's 25,000.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sindhu. List from the Geography Counselor. Direct response from Sindhu?
We would be giving the items away for free.
It is something we would be, yeah. So to me, it seems like I'm hearing some hesitation from council on this issue. I know that if we were to just have the budget now for this item, it seems like it would be an area where like we wouldn't know whether or not there are any what would make the most sense in, for example, the spread of items purchased or something like that. I can see that ending up being a potential drag next year if it's immediately halved. Is that something that like is there an appetite from council to postpone this item and then hear back at the next council meeting for potential options for the merch quotes at both the 21,000 number and at a lower half number or something like that. List from the Sustainable Energy Engineering Council.
Hi, not sure who this would be directed to. I don't want to make a short-sighted call on our merch. I understand it's very important. And half the budget because we're tight on money. I want to ask whoever might know best, do we feel that we get a lot of value out of giving away merch to students? I understand student engagement is important. I just want to know if the free merch is the best tool to be doing that. Do those who give it away feel like students are really engaged with the SFSS by receiving this merch?
Director Sponson Franca.
Yeah, I can't attest fully if it builds like a lifelong relationship with FSS, but just based on like clubs days this year, student services fairs, and I can't think of other events off the top of my head, but ones that are open to the general students, merch is usually a fairly good way to get them intrigued. For summer, so the first clubs day, we did have SS branded merch like water bottles, hoodies. Or actually I can't remember if we had hoodies, but I do remember we had water bottles, pens, and a few other items. And there was definitely more intrigue to come to the booth, and then some students would start asking questions like, hey, what is this? How do I get involved? As opposed to later on, I think this last club day we just had ramen because we were out of merch. And the students are more focused on just kind of getting the food and getting out. There wasn't as much discussion. I don't know if that attests to the merch. I do think it's valuable to have, and I was gonna actually suggest what Ashley put in chat. If council's more open to approving half right now, I'd be open to I'd like to approve half, and then we can evaluate if we want to approve more in the next 2 weeks, or alternatively, Sindhu, if you're able to send out what we would be purchasing, and then if council wants to vote in 2 weeks, after having that information, that would be good as well. But either way, I think it's nice to have some sort of items to give out for club day, even if we order less than the 21,000.
Thank you, Priyanka. That did really provide some insight into students' engagement on merch. List from the Geography Counselor. The Geography Counselor says postponing, say to hear more about a possible cut would be nice. And yeah, our grant budget is in trouble. However, this money is already spent from the eyes of the budget. Our situation will not get any actively worse by spending this money. We'll probably improve outreach, which is a critical need in this society. Yes. That does also bring up a comment that the reason the grant budget is so tight right now is because the grant line item speaks on the grant line item rather than our communications line item. List from Priyanka.
Yeah, I kind of just had a follow-up question on what Jeffrey mentioned. I imagine this would be towards VP Finance, but he's not here today, so maybe Sindhu. If we do choose not to, because this money is already kind of allocated in the budget, if we choose not to spend the entirety, say we spend half, would the remaining half move forward to the next year's budget, or would we be able to move it towards our grant budget for this year? Is there any value in not spending it because it's already allocated. I'm not sure if I phrased that correctly.
Direct response from Sindhu?
Yeah, so I don't know if it would make sense to reallocate, but it would help like the overall expenditures. So really what happens is it kind of just stays in that same line item and then it's unspent and then it helps with the overall. And then next for the budget planning next year, council can choose to reduce that budget and then reallocate some of that funding to the grant funding for the following year.
Nice. Thank you, Sindhu. We now have a list from we now have a list from Fatma, the English counselor. Is it possible to have an itemized list of exactly the things that will be purchased and how much it costs? Direct response from Sindhu?
Yeah, so I just sent that quote to counselors.
I know you're a new counselor. It took me a bit of time to get access to the email. Do you have access to your SFSS email? Your direct response? Or direct response from the English counselor? Nice, nice. That sounds good. And I know we've been just given the list. I'm of the opinion to postpone this motion till next meeting to allow the list to be reviewed by counselors and to allow the list to be reviewed by counselors and see what potential other options we have. Is there anyone who feels strongly in favor or against that? Priyanka would second the motion to postpone. So I'm now going to move to postpone this motion. I'm going to take that as a second. So I move to postpone this motion till next council meeting. Priyanka seconds. I'm going to seek unanimous consent for this motion. If you dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent, this motion is carried. We're now moving on to the University and Academic Affairs election. Now, this is the first election I have run, and I am very excited. Let me just pull up the motion. University and Academic Affairs Committee election, whereas the University and Academic Affairs Committee has one vacant councillor seat, Be it resolved to appoint Counselor X to sit on the University and Academic Affairs Committee for the remainder of the current council term. Now, the way our committee elections work is there are 3 calls for nominations, and if more than one counselor is nominated, then both counselors are allowed 1 minute to speak, and then there is a roll call vote. So I'm gonna open up for the first call of for the election and start taking lists. I believe there's one from the Vice President, University and Academic Affairs.
Yes, I'd like to nominate the Education Student Association counselor to join the UAAC for the remainder of the council term.
Education counselor, do you accept this nomination?
I accept this nomination. Thank you.
That is very exciting. Now moving on to the second call for nominations. List from the political science counselor. The political science counselor nominates the labor studies student union counselor. Labor studies student union counselor, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, I accept.
He accepts. I will now move on to the third call for nominations. I am not hearing anything on the third call for nominations, so as I'm not, we will move on to a election. Now, in the election process, for this, it is a 1 minute speech from each of the nominated candidates, and then a roll call vote, as I have stated before. So I will now grab my phone for a timer and start with the education counselor as they were nominated. First, you'll get the first speech. You can start whenever, and I will time it.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for letting me speak. So my name is Shivali. I am new on council, so this is my second formal meeting. And I have been in touch with the VP of University and Academic Affairs. We've been in touch for a few weeks about me joining this committee, which is why I was really hoping to be on it. And additionally, I've been in touch with other execs about being on it. And I'm also actually running for a position on SFU Senate. So I think that if I were to get on Senate, then it would be most appropriate to join the University and Academic Affairs Committee. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. And now it is the Labor Studies Counselor's turn. Let me just reset my timer. And now you can start whenever you're ready.
Hi, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Mamdou. I'm the Labor Studies counselor. This is also my second meeting. I don't have a committee yet, so I'm just seeking for a committee for the remainder of the term. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Thank you so much. We will now move on to voting. So for this, I will go down our list of attendees. I know some people have had to leave, so please forgive me if I call people who are not yet here. And then I will record the vote. And for this vote, you can vote for either Shwali, the education counselor, or Mamdu, the labor studies counselor, or you can abstain from the vote. Those are the three options. When you're called upon, either speak through your mic or comment in chat your vote. We'll be starting off with the biology student union.
My vote will go to Shwali.
On to the biomedical physiology and kinesiology student union.
My vote will also go to Shival.
We now move to the business administration student society.
My vote goes to Shivali as well.
I do not believe the chemistry student society is here. So we move on to the computing science student society.
Shivali.
Nice. We now move on to the criminology student association.
Is it me? I'm sorry.
Yep.
I go for the education counselor.
Thank you. We now move on to the data science student society counselor.
My vote is also for Shivali.
Thank you. We now move on to the education student association. Candidates are allowed to vote, and they're allowed to vote for any of the three options, including themselves.
I'd like to vote for myself.
On to the engineering student society. I do not share the engineering student science student society.
Hello, sorry. My mic wasn't working. I vote for the education counselor.
Thank you so much. We're now moving on to the English student union counselor.
I vote for Shivali.
We now move on to environmental science student union.
I'm going to vote for the labor studies counselor.
Environmental science votes for the labor studies counselor. We're now moving on to the geography student union. Now we move on to the Hasusu counselor, health science undergraduate student union.
I vote for the education counselor.
We now move to Indigenous Studies Student Union, who recently left. We now move to the Labor Studies Student Union counselor.
I vote for labor studies.
Thank you, Mamdu. Moving on to the Mechatronic Systems Engineering Student Society. Who votes education? I personally will abstain from the vote, as I'm also the one recording. Moving on to the political science student union counselor.
I will vote for labor studies.
Labor studies. Also, I've also remembered that in previous ones, the chair was still allowed to vote in these. So I will vote, and I will vote for the education counselor. Apologize, I had forgotten that bit of procedure. It's been a while since we had a roll call election. Onto the science undergrad, onto the resource and environmental management counselor. Who votes for education? Onto the science undergraduate society counselor.
I will vote for the education counselor.
Who also votes for the education counselor. Nice. Onto the Society for Arts and Social Sciences counselor. Is the SAS counselor here? Not here. Yep. SAS left. Believe Sasu is also not here. Onto the Stats and Actuarial Science counselor, Van.
I vote for education.
Onto the C's counselor. Andrew, are you here?
Sorry, me, Andrew?
Yep, Sustainable Energy Engineering, Andrew.
I vote for Shivali, my apologies.
All good, nice. And World Languages and Literature is also not here. Same with DNA.
I'm
and-
here.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, you joined
Yes, I apologize.
late. I apologize. How do you vote on this one?
I would vote for Shivali.
Nice. No DNA and First Nations, Métis and Inuit Student Association. Both sent regrets. Soka counselor, how do you vote? Oh. Yeah, are you here? I'm not hearing anything from Yai, so I'll mark that one and come back to it at the end. Residence Hall Association. We're now on the Residence Hall Association. I'll also come back to RHA at the end. Emmanuel.
I put in a comment, but I said education.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So I did not see the comments. And yes, yeah, I just called Soka as well. So yeah, how do you yes, it is now your turn, yeah.
Okay, sorry, thanks. I'm gonna vote for the labor studies.
Labor studies.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, TSSU and SFPERG are both not here. We now move on to Acting VP Internal and Organizational Development.
Education.
Education. Now on to VP University. VP University, we are now at your vote.
As I nominated the Education Student Association counselor, I would like to vote for her in favor.
Sounds good. On to VP External and Community Affairs.
I'm gonna vote for the education counselor as well.
Thanks. And on to IO, the VP Events and Student Affairs.
I'll vote for the education counselor.
I realize I've forgotten you, Priyanka. I apologize. Priyanka, how do you vote?
I'll vote for the labor studies counselor.
Labor Studies Counselor. All right. Is there any counselor here who I have not called? I'm hearing none, and everyone voted. So I will now tally up the votes. There were 23 votes for the education counselor and 5 votes for the labor studies student union counselor with no abstentions. Mamdu, if you take a look at the list of committees, let me know which ones you're interested in, and I can also reach out and let you know which ones are vacant, and then we'll get you on a committee for the next council meeting. And congratulations, Shwali, and congratulations, Mamdu, for running. They're always fun affairs, and it is really nice to see more counselors interested in being in a committee than there are spots in the committee. So I move to amend the motion to replace Counselor X with the education counselor. Shwali, I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. And then I move. Can I get a seconder?
CSA seconds.
Health Science had it first, I am very sorry, Henry. Thanks, Mamdu. I hope you have a great evening. I'm gonna seek unanimous consent for this amendment. If you have any dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent, this motion is carried. This amendment is carried. I'm now gonna seek unanimous consent for the whole motion itself. If you dissent, please speak up now. So I am not hearing any dissent. So this motion is carried. Congratulations. Again. We now move on to item 11 in camera. So I move, can I get a seconder? Internal seconds. I'm going to seek unanimous consent for this motion. If you dissent, please speak up now. I am not hearing any dissent. So this motion is carried. Henry, please may I have you make a breakout room for the counselors?
On it.
Thank you, Henry.
Sam, I don't think I'm able to make a breakout room because I'm not host.
Should be able to.
I have no option that gives me that I can make a breakout room on my end.
All right. You should be able to now.
Yep, I see it now.
So going in cameras, then we have to discuss things that relate to one of 4 specific topics, which, due to their sensitivity, can only be discussed confidentially, which are HR matters, legal matters, things that are in relation to the into PIPA, the Privacy Act, and the 4th is slipping my mind right now. We move to go in camera, and then when we're in camera, everything that's discussed in camera stays in the room. Legal contracts. I will be bringing in Sindhu for this in camera as well. Staff can be brought in at the discretion of the chair. The 4, as Ashley put in the chat, are legal, contract, staff, and PIPA. So now as we're going into the in-camera, there my brief explanation of it will end. So, motion to go ex camera. I move. Can I get a seconder?
CSA seconds.
CSA seconds. Be it resolved to go ex camera. I'm going to seek unanimous consent for this motion. If you dissent, please speak up now. Hearing no dissent, this motion is carried. We now move on to section 13, notice of motion. Changes to the Space Oversight Committee submitted. Let me say that bit. Whereas the Space Oversight Committee of the last council made recommendations that were never considered by the Governance Committee, whereas the Governance Committee reviewed these changes on March 21st, 2024, whereas the Governance Committee made the following recommendation of changes to SPOC policy to council. Be resolved that council adopt the following changes to Standing Order 19. Correct numbering by renumbering to 19. Correct typos. Remove these subcommittees. Remove definition 18.6. Change the composition to the following. Composition is ex officio the president, chairperson, a non-executive counselor, or, well, any counselor. Include the VP Finance and Services, include the VP Internal and Organizational Development, include 2 council members, 0 to 2 student at-large members, and then non-voting the facilities manager, building coordinators, and other staff as requested by the executive from time to time. This is a notice of motion, so it's notice that this will be going as a new business item like the member services policy was today at the meeting 2 weeks from now. I'm going to open the floor to lists. I am hearing no lists on this item. As there's no lists, we move on to the 30-minute Q&A. So I will now open the floor for the 30-minute Q&A. Are there any questions from students or counselors or anyone want to raise any questions right now? List from the geography counselor.
Okay, this is kind of a concerning trend that I noticed, like appending on 5-figure amendments to the agenda before we have a chance to look at them. Is there a reason that counselors feel compelled to do that? And can we stop doing that?
We have a list from the VP Equity.
Yeah, sorry, I should have put a DR. No, I'm on board with that, especially with most financial motions. Ideally, if counselors know earlier, just send it on the council email where the agenda was shared. And if it's in camera, then you can use the council only mailing list just so that everyone has a chance to review, but I do think that's become a common trend, so maybe we only have about like a month left in our term, but if we could be more cautious of that going forward, might just allow counselors to make more informed decisions.
Thank you, Priyanka. We have a direct response from Cindy.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. I just wanted to note that there are some circumstances where I don't think that's realistic to postpone until the following meeting. So some funding that's just randomly thrown on and amended, if there's no purpose behind that, or if that's coming from the council budget, I think it can be predetermined before coming to council and should, you know, adhere to the 2-week mark of giving counselors notice. There's also, based on the finance policies, certain things that departments can approve on for their own budgets. So for example, even like student union grants or the communications budget, as you saw today, that might be things that are overseen by those respective coordinators. But because of the finance policies, after a certain threshold, it has to come to council. So for example, if they're reviewing a grant that happens on a Tuesday, and you know, it could be $1,000, which they can approve, but if it happens to be more than that, it would have to come to council. And then waiting for the extra 4 weeks may not be feasible for those groups. So I think there's certain circumstances where we can make those exceptions, but things that are pre-planned, I absolutely agree. We should give council the appropriate notice.
I believe it is my list next, to which I'll say that I do agree that should not be happening. And I know it was something that has been commented on for a bit, and as I'm on the next executive, it's something that personally I'll commit not to do except in the circumstances outlined by Sindhu, which I think is a pretty big difference between when it's a motion that's something that's been reviewed by staff previous, like a grant that's been approved by staff previous that needs to go here, and grants submitted on by counselors, or like the $21,000 motion today, which was a lot because it's not something we normally see. I do also agree that we should have a little more notice for those ones. So thank you for bringing up that discussion. We also had a question in chat. I've heard that counselors get a month holiday. How can we use it? Our VP internal said that they'd send a link in the Discord after the meeting, which reminds me, we do have a counselor Discord. Given we have at least one new counselor here today, can someone add a link to the Discord in the chat, or send it, or direct message it to the English counselor? I don't quote me on this, but I believe the 1 month holiday for non-executive counselors is unpaid. Oh, 21 days paid. For all counselors. It seems like I could have taken a vacation. That is good to know. The Discord link does not work. I'm going to open the floor to any further questions, if there are, and I'm also going to pull up the Discord link. Seems like I've been beaten to it. Of course, it's Henry. Wait about 10 more seconds before closing the Q&A. As there are no more questions, so we will now move on to our next item, which I believe is adjournment. And we have the two attachments. Before we get to adjournment, just a quick reminder to fill in your work report. Was sent out today. Oh. Amos, what is your question? The question is, are there any post-meeting documents for the last meeting? I didn't get an email for it. I believe the post-meeting documents from the last council meeting have not yet been approved. But they will be soon and will be sent out to you shortly. Do we have any further questions?
One last question here. If we don't elect anyone for the next council, do we just do nothing? Or is there anything we need to do?
I believe you're referring to if, like, for your next year's councillor election, the position remains vacant and there's no one who runs for it. I believe Sindhu or Ashley, can you list from the VP internal?
Yeah, hi Van. I hope I'm understanding your question correctly, but it is up to the discretion of individual student unions and groups whether or not they decide to elect a counselor for this upcoming council year. I would strongly encourage you to do so, as it allows your membership to be represented at the SFSS level. But in the event that you don't elect someone or no one's interested, you don't have to do anything. There's no documents or nothing you need to send us. However, if you do elect someone, do make sure that you email our student union coordinator your meeting minutes of your election so that we can approve the counselor and make sure we get them on the payroll and all that fun stuff. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me though.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. You want to put out the call for questions? The one I said final time a few times before this, so one more time. I'm no longer hearing any more questions. We'll now move on to the adjournment. I move. Can I get a seconder?
CSA seconds.
CSA seconds. Be resolved to adjourn the meeting at 6:43 p.m. I'm going to seek unanimous consent for this one. If you dissent, please speak up now. No dissent. This motion is carried. Thank you so much. Hope you all have a great evening.